What is going on, girls, guys, and everyone else? Once again, it is your host, Arachnid Soul, coming to you once again with another Gamers podcast, coming to you joined once again by Nyrus. You guys remember way back when Nyrus and I sat down, we discussed female protagonists in games. If you haven't listened to that podcast, go back, listen to it. But today we're talking about something different. Today we're talking about the PC Master Race and some of the things that surround it, some of the things you hear about it. But first and foremost, let me introduce Nyrus. Nyrus, what is going on?
Hello again, guys. Thank you for having me back. It's a pleasure. I really enjoyed our last sit down, and I'm glad that I get to do another one with you.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you back. Hopefully you'll be back on again. I'll have to talk to my producers. They don't like a lot of people. No, I'm just kidding. There's no producers here. It's just me.
We'll talk about my contract and my.
Yeah, some of those green M&Ms and things.
I don't see those. Yeah, I don't see the blue M&Ms in my dressing room. So we'll have to talk about that.
Well, you also in your dressing room, talking about PC Master Race, you demanded a 1964 IBM computer, and we just couldn't find one, to be honest with you.
Honestly, I don't know if I'll be back then.
Yeah, well, we'll try, but let's talk about this. You're a girl who has gamed, obviously, on a console for a long time, because that's what we've had, there weren't PCs around all the time. Now you're a girl who games on console, and you game on PC. You have a next-gen console, you have a gaming PC. I'm pretty much the same way. I grew up gaming on console. I mean, Super Nintendo is my favorite of all time, but all of the PlayStation consoles, I go over to my friend's house and play Xbox. I had a TurboGrafx 16 back in the day.
Wow.
People in the audience are like, what the hell is that? Wow. I was playing like Bonk's Revenge growing up.
I will have to argue that I was first a PC gamer than a console gamer, since I started playing on my dad's Commodore 64.
Oh, that's right.
Back in the day. And then on his IBM computers, playing Snake, playing all these little line games that came back in the day with the PCs. It wasn't until like the Atari that I started playing with console gaming.
Yeah, I remember playing on my dad's old, weak laptop. The only game he had was Lemmings, but I loved it.
Oh, Lemmings. I loved Lemmings on my dad's computer. That was one of my first, obsessive gaming games. Like, I would play that every day.
Oh, yeah, that old, it was like an old mustard screen, thing. It looked like the Game Boy color. But let's talk about this. Because when I was telling people who I gamed with on console that, hey, I'm thinking about getting a gaming PC. I was playing PlayStation 3 with them. And I saw the PS4 specs and the Xbox One specs, and I thought, maybe I'm just going to add a gaming PC and then still get a next-gen console. What ended up happening was I paid money for the gaming PC, and I'm like, yeah, I'm really enjoying that. Why am I going to go get this on PlayStation 4 and, run it at half the frames? I don't care about graphics, but at a fraction of the graphics. Buy it, it's going to cost me twice as much on console. I'm going to have to pay for that PSN account, and I've already got the game. So yeah, that was kind of my introduction to PC gaming, and actually some other day I will talk about how about 5 years ago I helped make a pretty awesome free game that you can get on PC, but we're not talking about that today.
Oh.
Now, I know you, Nyrus, you're kind of more in touch with going on Reddit and kind of being in the forums where people talk about, the quote-unquote PC Master Race and PC Elitist. So, what are your general feelings on this stuff?
I didn't quite know what to think about the whole PC Master Race thing, because I had heard, the normal things you hear about them being a bunch of, snobs and kind of talk down on people, even if they consider playing console games. They'll write you off as a peasant, as they call console players. But once I joined the subreddits and I started reading most of the posts and stuff, I discovered that in everything, there's just a couple douchebags that ruin communities reputation by being idiots. Most of the PC master race, as you know, quote unquote, are very helpful, very inclusive people. Most of them have themselves at least one console that they have to play some games that they just enjoy better on a console than on a PC. And they try to, help people see their point of view from, the superiority of playing games on a computer as opposed as on a console. But they don't try to um call you an idiot like some of these people do.
And I fully agree with that. I mean, when I went from console to PC, there were certain things that I was afraid of, and let me dispel some of these rumors right now. Gaming on a PC is so much more expensive than on a console. It's not true. You can get a good gaming PC now cheap, and you can just kind of upgrade it. Very easy to upgrade, or you can have somebody else upgrade it, take it somewhere. But also when you factor in that you can get certain games on PC for maybe $5 that might still be $60 on console, when you factor in that on a PC you're not going to have to get that membership to play online, and when you actually look at the hardware inside of the console, the graphics card and the processor in a console, even next gen versus PC, you realize you might actually save money in the long run with PC. So that's the first thing. The second thing is people say, well, I only want to use a controller. You can use a controller with the PC.
Yeah, a lot of people bring that up. Oh, I can't play with the keyboard and the mouse. Many games support gamepad game controllers, and actually, if they don't support it, there's many programs that independent people have created just to fool your computer into thinking that they could play with a controller. So you can basically play almost any game, any PC game with the controller.
Right. I mean, most PC games now do have controller support and keyboard and mouse support. I kind of look at it and I say, well, with console, I don't have a choice. Even though there are some console games, they don't advertise it, but you can use a mouse on them and you can use a keyboard, not for moving, but for, just typing things in game. So you don't have that option with console, but you do have that option with PC. So I can use mouse and keyboard, I can use controller. Some games, like a Saints Row or a Rage, I will actually use both things. If you can imagine me holding the controller in one hand, like my left hand, and then using the mouse to aim and shoot, that's how I play Saints Row. That's how I play Rage. Yeah, it's awesome.
Wow.
I call it like a hybrid controls. But, the other thing, I was telling you I was a marketing major, and it's funny to me that so many of the things that console gamers might not like about PC gaming is really just alleviated when they take that tower that's vertical and they turn it horizontal, because now it's a Steam box. And instead of having a keyboard in the picture, they put a controller in there, and people are like, oh, it's a new console, which
it's a computer.
It basically is. Consoles are computers, computers are consoles.
Yep.
When we talk about PC Master Race, another thing that I tend to hear a lot is the term PC elitist. And I don't like that term for a number of reasons. First of all, when you think about elitist, you tend to think about somebody who has more money to do things. With the PC, like I said, in the long term and sometimes in the short term, it's actually cheaper. So for that reason, I wouldn't agree with the elitist thing. But also, when I came over to PC gaming and I didn't really know what I was doing, the community's so helpful.
That's right.
They would go over, if I go into a forum and I say, I'm thinking about getting this game, these are my computer specs. Even if I have low specs, the people were not like, oh my god, dude, your specs are horrible. They were like, okay, so basically we went in, we broke it down. If you turn down this setting, if you turn off anti-aliasing, if you do all of this different stuff, you'll be able to play it, you can get a good frame rate. Or sometimes they'll send you a link like, hey, if you go to this website for $10.99, you can get this thing. You just put it in. It'll help your game run smoother. Or here's Razer Cortex. That will bring up your frame rate.
Oh, yes.
It's such a helpful, nice community.
That gets a bad rap.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, the only time that really you see any PC elitism come out in droves is when there's console elitism and people show up. Mm-hmm. We don't care if you show up or if they show up, however you want to put it, and they're like, yeah, I like this game on console, or I'm playing console because I can't get Ratchet and Clank, I can't get Gran Turismo, I can't, there's certain games. But it's when they show up and they're talking about a game that's on console and is also on PC, and they're going to sit there and tell you that the game's much better on console.
Oh my god.
And you guys suck because you're playing it on PC with a keyboard mouse, even though some of them are playing it with a controller, but the person doesn't know. And then, of course, if you say that, you're going to get flamed with, what are you talking about? You paid twice as much. The graphics for me are twice as good. I have a higher frame rate. Online is free. The connectivity is better. There's mods. There's a workshop. There's a forum. Like, you know, and then the person's going to run back to their other console people and be like, those assholes on PC.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, one thing they had a field day with was the delay with the Grand Theft Auto 5 release on PC. Oh my lord, they used that as a trophy, most of the console elitists, to kind of throw that in the face of like, aha, you see, you have to wait for a year for the release and we have it now. How does that feel now, PC Master Race? I saw that so much in the forums. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I've seen it with that. Some other games too. Like, I don't know if Destiny's ever going to come to PC. Maybe it's already on PC by the time you've heard this, but I hear that about Destiny, and it's like, yeah, I'm willing to wait for a finished game. It's like when we got the game that you were supposed to get when it launched. When, you know, GTA 5 launching with heists, with an online that works, where we didn't have to wait until the next month, where we didn't have to wait a year and a half for heists, where it had the first person already, where there's more content, where there's mods. It's like, it's not the same thing that you got a year and a half ago. It just has the same name.
Another problem that I'm finding myself facing a lot is, since I do both, I play both PS4 and PC, I'm running into the issue of where do I buy the game? Like the upcoming Rainbow Six Siege. I'm very interested in playing that game, but I'm faced with the decision of either buying it for the PS4 or buying it for the PC because, you know, I'm not rich. And most of my friends that I game with have it on the PS4. Are gonna get it on the PS4 because that's what they have. But I'm kind of like, you know, stressing out because I know it's gonna look so much better and it's gonna play so much better on PC. But then I won't have anybody to play with, and that's another thing that kind of like splits people when they own both things. When they own a console and a PC, they have to decide where they're gonna invest their money. You know, and that's why I have way more games on PC since they're like cheaper than on the PS4. I have over 120 games on Steam.
The other thing is, people think that if you play on PC, you're going to play alone. And it's like, no, you met your console friends through gaming. You'll meet them on Steam. Steam has the same thing like Xbox or PSN or Nintendo does. You have a friends list. You can meet people. You know, actually, I think it's a little bit easier because there's forums.
True that. I mean, I know I could, if I get it on PC, I know I'll be able to find people to play with easily. But, you know, the peer pressure, as you say, of my current console friends going like, hey, you know, we got to play this at launch. You got to play with us. It's like, oh, you know.
But, yeah, I mean, I game on console. I game on PC. Like, and when I say I game on console, I'm not going to buy a game that, you know, if I have the choice of getting it on PC or console, I'm getting it on PC. That's the end of the story. But an exclusive game, I will play that on console and love it. I still play my PlayStation 2. I still play my Nintendo 64. I plug that thing into the TV.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll go back. Like I always say, we could have talked about this stuff for the next 6 hours. We want to hear from everybody in the comment section. Please don't fight with us or with each other. Questions, comments. Do not forget to follow me on Twitter at Arachnid Soul. And also, Nyrus is a Twitch streamer. Her information is in the description below. As always, it has been your host, Arachnid Soul, intellectual, voracious, and passionate about the Gamers Podcast and bringing you awesome guests like Nyrus. And we will catch you girls, you guys, and everyone else in between later.